Hello everyone and welcome to Kirkistown in Northern Ireland, the place host of the next round of the Irish Roadsports and the Northern Irish Se7ens Championships. The field's split into two classes. Class C is where we find the thoroughbred sports cars, the Crossleys and the Radicals, and in Class B, the Caterham inspired cars, Westfields, low-cost strikers. The racing in that class in particular ought to be very competitive indeed. Looking forward to calling this race. I'm off to the commentary box now to see what happens. Well, the cars then head out of the assembly area onto the grid ahead of the first of our two Roadsports races this weekend. Then it is the Class C cars that line up first, headed by Jim Larkham and John Benson from Steve Morris and John McCandless row 2. Ivor Greenwood had issues in qualifying but should move forward from 5th on the grid. Then the Class B cars, Trevor Allen and Mark Francis on row 1 ahead of David Much and Richard Francis. Then Brendan Cunning, Graham Moore and Alan Miller at the back of the field. So there'll be a bit of a delay before the Class B cars make their way off the line. The Class C cars, the more powerful machines, will leave first. That will be in less than 5 seconds' time. Lots of onboards to bring you all of the action over the course of this race. As the red lights go out, away we go. Who gets the best start from row number 1? It's a good start by Benson there. The green Crossley from the inside of row number 1, second on the grid. Will, I think, snatch the advantage into turn number 1. Yes, he does. Larkham slots through into second place, and already Ivor Greenwood going around the outside of John McCandless there into third position. So that's the order then. Benson, Larkham and Greenwood, the top three. Then the Class B cars get underway. We're on board here with Brendan Cunning. Slipstreaming action amongst these Caterham type cars is bound to produce lots of excitement, but David Much didn't get a great start there, or at least a good run through the first corner. He's lost at least one position and is now under pressure from the 94 of Brendan Cunning behind him. The leading trio though in Class C turn their way through the chicane for the first time, and Ivor Greenwood, hugely experienced racer is Ivor, looking to try and capitalise on a good exit from the chicane, but doesn't quite have the horsepower, it would seem, of Jim Larkham, who qualified on pole position by 7/10 of a second and is already going back up the inside of John Benson to reclaim the race lead. And the much newer Radical, better on the brakes as well, slips through on the inside of the hairpin. Now Ivor Greenwood needs to try and follow him through here if he can, gets in the slipstream, pulls out to the left hand side, and in the end John Benson doesn't make life too difficult for Ivor Greenwood there. He moves through into second position now. Got a bit of a race on our hands now, I think, because Ivor, as I said, only did about half of the qualifying session due to mechanical issues, so he always promised better pace than he showed in qualifying yesterday. We're across the start-finish line going with Class B runners, and it's 5 cars together. We're on board with the car that's 4th in the queue. That's David Much, who turns through the first corner at Debtor's Dip under a lot of pressure there from Brendan Cunning, who drives round the outside of him. And it looks as though Much might have an issue here. David Much, yeah, the man who's qualified 3rd on the grid, is pulling off the road at Colonial. So, unfortunately, David Much, our first retirement, and he would have hoped, I'm sure, to get much further than that in this race, but he is out halfway around lap 2. That leaves these cars to debate the race lead. It's Trevor Allen that has the lead of the race. Chasing him down is Mark Francis. They were the top 2 on the grid, and they're the top 2 as they head through the chicane for the second time of asking. That rather delayed Brendan Cunning slightly. There is David Much having a look at the back of the car so we can figure out what the issue is. On board now with Brendan Cunning, heading down the back straight towards the hairpin, but he's just had to lift off the throttle a bit when Much slowed down in front of him. That means that he's lost ground to the leaders, who are squabbling amongst themselves, and it's now Mark Francis, who was almost in front of Trevor Allen there, but Trevor Allen in the grey car fights back again out of the hairpin and will still lead the class across the start-finish line. This, though, is the fight for the overall race lead, and Ivor Greenwood is now starting to really harry Jim Larkham as the two Radicals turn into the chicane once again. Tighter line there for Greenwood, gets in the slipstream, and yeah, you can see that Larkham just got a bit more straight line speed, but not a huge amount more, so Greenwood will fancy his chances here of getting the class lead away. Meanwhile, the battling is still going on here in Class B. Between these two, they're starting to get away now slightly from the cars behind. Trevor Allen and Mark Francis, inseparable at this stage of the race, make their way out of the chicane. Leading to are half a lap clear already though. Ivor Greenwood, we get the Greenwood's eye view again through Debtor's Dip, flat out I'd imagine in these Radicals, and it is the Pro Sport Radical that Ivor Greenwood is piloting. Jim Larkham in a PR06, and side by side again here for the Class B lead. A good exit from the hairpin this time around for Mark Francis, almost puts him up alongside Trevor Allen. But Trevor once again carries good momentum onto the pit straight and manages to stay in front, but both of those cars
seeming to have very similar performance. Not really surprising since they're both running the 1 litre Honda engine, which is the low-cost chassis of Mark Francis and the Westfield chassis of Trevor Allen that are doing battle. Here, the two different Radical chassis, also still with the same 1.3 litre engine though, so it's any straight line speed advantage that appears to be going the way of Jim Larkham. It's coming from aerodynamics rather than engine performance, and he's a bit wide through the hairpin, which maybe does tell us that car runs with a slightly lower aerodynamic setting than the Ivor Greenwood car behind. Greenwood instead focusing to have a slightly more better planted car through the twisty stuff. It's a bit of a compromise, this circuit, because you look at a map of it and you see these long straights and you think, well, you need to run a low drag, high speed setting, but then you get to places like Colonial here and you suddenly start wishing you had a bit more grip. These two are still side by side through the hairpin, and try as he might, Mark Francis just can't quite prise the door open. He's tried the inside, he's tried the outside. The only real way through is going to be to drive over the top of Trevor Allen's car, and that's not really on, so Trevor Allen placing the car perfectly at the moment to hang on to the class lead. Brendan Cunning here running in 4th position in class. He's trying to chase after the car in front of him, but that's not proving to be all that easy. Lots of cement dust laid down there for a previous race. Oh, hang on, is that a mistake or is that a problem? No, it's a problem, isn't it? So that is going to be a place gain. That was Richard Francis, I think, slowing down. And so that will now allow the orange machine to move into a podium place. Gives these two an even more healthy lead now. So yeah, Brendan Cunning into 3rd place then. The curbs down the back straight once again. Now in blissful isolation is Brendan Cunning. No one really around him, but as we see again, the leader's not enjoying the same sort of luxury. Still, the outside line not really working for Mark Francis, and he always gets elbowed out onto the grass there coming out of the final corner. So Trevor Allen once again hangs on. They're actually catching John McCandless now in the Class C car. The well-pedalled Class B car is capable of lapping quicker than some of the Class C machinery, as we're seeing here. Ivor Greenwood now. It's down past the paddock there to your right. Defensive lines being taken here by Jim Larkham, so he clearly doesn't trust that Greenwood isn't going to have a go here, but Ivor slides a bit wide out of the hairpin there. Both of them pushing pretty hard here to try and take this victory. Meanwhile, battle for Class P is still raging, and they're now, as I say, continuing to catch John McCandless. Now that could actually have an effect in all this, because he is not a lapped back marker. This is a pass for position, so he doesn't have to just let them through. That could possibly affect the dynamic of that Class B lead battle. Brendan Cunning could also be set to benefit from that if they really start holding each other up. He might be able to catch them. The inside of McCandless there, though, goes Trevor Allen. Like I said, that was for position, but thankfully for Mark Francis, he's able to follow him through as well, so no real gain there for the race leader. He gained a few car lengths maybe. Oh, now this is closer than it's been so far. I think Ivor Greenwood having a real look at the rear end of the number 20 car of Jim Larkham. Jim just seems able to pull far enough ahead down the straight that by the time he reached the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit here at the hairpin, Ivor Greenwood just isn't close enough to get through. Once again, he's in the slipstream again down the back straight, but no way past for the time being. Leaders in Class B back at the chicane. As Ivor Greenwood now sees another opportunity because they're catching some of the Class B traffic. This might just delay the race leader Jim Larkham enough to allow Ivor Greenwood through on the inside of a back marker into Fisherman's. Thankfully it sees them coming, lets them both through in one go. It's nicely done there for both of our leading two. But Ivor Greenwood in the number 4 car. Oh, there's been an issue here for Richard Francis again. He's pulling off completely now, so he slowed down a couple of laps ago, but he has now pulled off the road into the pit lane, so he is officially out of the race. Ivor Greenwood, though, very much in the race, and he's in the race for the race lead here. He's in the slipstream down the back straight, past the chicanes that they use on the sprint events that take place here at the Kirkistown circuit, and from a long, long way back, he goes through on the inside. That's one of the best moves you'll see all day. Fantastic stuff on the braking there for Ivor Greenwood, and he slips through. I didn't think he was going to get that car stopped then, but he has gone through, and he takes the lead away now then from Jim Larkham. So Jim will be looking to try and fight back again, I'm sure. And of course, he now has the advantage of a slipstream. Next time we get onto that back straight, he might be able to use that to get back alongside Greenwood. So I said we had a race on our hands. It turned out that that was absolutely right. Ivor Greenwood has got through Oh, and pulls off. Ivor Greenwood pulls off all of a sudden. Ivor Greenwood, the car just stopped almost completely suddenly going into Se7ens. He's trying to get going again, but some sort of an electrical glitch maybe. Either way, Ivor Greenwood looks as though he may be out of the race. He certainly handed the race lead back over to Jim Larkham. Oh, what a shame that was. Yeah, Ivor Greenwood limping around. He's going a bit more quickly now, but not full race pace. No, the car won't accelerate out of the corners. And Ivor Greenwood, I fear, might have to pull into the pit lane. He's going to be out of it. What a shame that is. Well, that means that we're now only got one class lead battle to watch. We're being spoiled in the first half of the race with those two brilliant battles going on at completely opposite ends of the circuit, but now it is very much the Class B cars that take centre stage. And Cunning on board with still running third in Class B at the moment. Of course, with some of the Class C cars dropping by the wayside, they're starting to pick their way up the overall order quite a long way. They could be on maybe for a top 5 finish here, some of the leading Class B cars. Across the line they come then. Still 46 Trevor Allen ahead of 34 Mark Francis, then 44 Brendan Cunning, who are on board with again now in third position. And these Class B cars with their 1 litre 1000cc motorbike engines are really moving across the start-finish line there. The fastest part of the circuit, no doubt, is down that back straight, and that's the part of the circuit that these two are heading to again. Gap does seem to ebb and flow a little between these two, doesn't it? It goes up through the middle part of the lap, but then every time we get to the hairpin, it seems that Mark Francis is able to get close enough to attack. Maybe that's the slipstream, maybe his car's just producing a bit more straight line speed. Either way, he's able to close in through that part of the circuit, and by the time we get to the end of the lap, he is proving to be a real thorn in the side of the leader. This time, though, he's not actually able to draw fully alongside, so still in the same positions as they come out of the hairpin across the start-finish line onto yet another lap. We're getting into the closing stages of this race now. The final third has begun. Brendan Cunning out of the final corner. It's across the start-finish line into the fastest corner on the track, Debtors Dip, which, yeah, I think he's taking flat out there, despite the very bumpy surface there through the apex of the corner. So they are now into the top 5, or at least Trevor Allen is into the top 5 there, the black and grey number 46 car, with that, with a few others, as I said, having issues. Ivor Greenwood is still circulating, albeit at a reduced pace, so he's going to try and limp home, I think, for class position. Right on cue, here is Ivor Greenwood. Goes across the start-finish line, but as you can see, the car well off the pace, and he's trying to stay off the racing line as well, just in case he gets caught by some quicker cars from behind, which very shortly may turn out to be these two cars, because they are very much catching him, and they're having their own private battle. They don't really need to trip over the ailing Ivor Greenwood. Ivor then still getting some good onboard shots, even though the car isn't going as quickly as it should be. It's still moving, and that is something, but Ivor Greenwood set the fastest lap earlier on as well. Just as he took the lead, he set the fastest lap actually, 1 minute 0.118, so he would have the speed, no doubt, but it now looks as though he's going to fall out of the top 4, maybe probably the top 5, because you can imagine that if one of these two gets past him, they probably both will go through. Into the slipstream they go again then, down the back straight on board with Brendan Cunning, who has, I think, some traffic in front of him that he's going to have to deal with. That might actually, no, John McCandless won't it in the yellow Crossley. John McCandless also slipping backwards here slightly as the race has gone on. Leading 2 Class B cars then out of the hairpin onto another lap. Yeah, they're definitely going to catch Greenwood before much longer. Greenwood actually is struggling to catch that Class B car in front of him, but he's trying to lap. Actually, he's lapping a bit quicker at him massively. So the number 4 car, whatever this issue is, it's clearly not terminal. He's able to keep on limping through, and the car doesn't seem to be slowing quite as dramatically as it did initially, so he's clearly got a good idea of what the problem is, and maybe he's being able to manage it in the car, but there are championship points on offer here, of course. This is a championship. The pit lane, though, and scoring no points from this race is Alan Miller. the number 22 Class B car. But yeah, Ivor Greenwood then is 2 points clear of Jim Larkin in the championship in Class C, so he needs to try and finish this race at least and try and get some good class points. He will still probably get a top 4 in class, but yes, he's going to lose this 4th position overall, because now Trevor Allen and Mark Francis are with him. Trevor Allen drives down the left-hand side of the road, goes through without too much of a problem there, and Ivor actually doesn't allow Mark Francis through quite as easily. And why should he? These are for position, albeit not class positions. You score points for wherever you finish within your class rather than your overall finishing position, so he doesn't really need to race these drivers too much. But yeah, Mark Francis still hasn't appeared alongside us. There he goes on the inside of Colonial, so down into 6th position now then for Ivor Greenwood. And he's now got good 30 seconds or so, or 20 seconds or so, I think, back to Brendan Cunning, so probably should be able to maintain that margin, you would imagine, as long as the car doesn't slow down and stop completely. This, though, is Jim Larkham, and Jim Larkham looking to reclaim or claim the championship lead away from Ivor Greenwood here. Then Greenwood had won 3 of the first 4 races of the year, and this 5th round of the championship looks as though it's going to go the way of his big championship rival in Class C. This is Brendan Cunning, meanwhile, who arrived here 4th place in the Class B championship. Paul Thompson and Mark Francis were only a point apart at the front of the field, while Paul isn't racing here this weekend, so Francis looks like he'll take the points lead in Class B. Across the start-finish line, though, comes the race leader, and that may well have been the last lap board, I think, that was being held out there for the leader, Jim Larkham. Ivor Greenwood then soldiering on, just needs to get around another lap and a half, I suppose, for him, because he's only at Fisherman's on the previous lap. I don't think he'll quite go a lap down to the leader, but it might be pretty close, actually. Slowed even more dramatically over the last couple of laps as Ivor Greenwood. Through Fisherman's then for the final time of asking, I believe, comes Jim Larkham, who has a pretty good day so far. Qualified on pole position by 7/10 of a second. Looks as though he's going to win race number 1 by a pretty handy margin as well. Down the final run towards the final hairpin, gets past a couple of back markers as well. Brendan Cunning, look here, catching the John McCandless car. This is for position, but they're about to see the checkered flag, I think, as out of the final corner then comes the race leader, who slows. All of a sudden there's a problem. Would you believe it? Jim Larkham's car now slows. Now, can he get to the start-finish line before John Benson catches him? John was about 10 seconds or so behind. He's got his hand out to the cockpit. The checkered flag is there. Go on, go on, go on, go on. Yes, just gets there, but look how close it was. The green machine of John Benson less than a second behind at the checkered flag. That was near disaster there for Jim Larkham. 2nd for Benson, then Steve Morris comes home in 3rd position with Trevor Allen 4th, and he takes the victory in Class B. Mark Francis was 5th and 2nd in class, whilst Ivor Greenwood salvages 6th position, 4th in Class C, but loses the championship lead.